the team that I have as one of only two elite draft teams in the NFC, and you have as one of two teams that are your top 5 favorite drafts from the NFC. Of all teams, the Super Bowl runner-ups, the Philadelphia Eagles. And what a really cool draft it was to be an Eagles fan. And by the way, the whole Jalen Carter thing worked out to a T, really. You thought they'd have to trade up potentially to 5 to get him, or 6, but they actually only had to bump up 1 pick and grab him. And you knew when the trade was made, we know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
So to get Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith at pick 30, a lot of people thought he could have been in the top 15. And then Kelee Ringo, another Georgia Bulldog, in the 4th round. That, along with the fact you got a nice tackle in Tyler Steen, a nice DB in Sidney Brown, this is a home run draft for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, and by the way, they traded for DeAndre Swift.
By the way.
Oh, man. That Jalen Carter pick, I did call the trade.
Yes.
He'd end up in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform, but not at 9. I thought it'd be a little bit higher. All they had to give up was a 2024 4th rounder to move up and get him. So poor Philadelphia, right? It's funny. Howie Roseman comes on and says it's our responsibility as coaches, as a front office, to support Jalen Carter and keep his head on straight and help him mature. This trade, this pick, obviously some teams were scared off by the character, the maturity. This was the spot for him with Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, now Nolan Smith. Those 3, just talk about those 3 guys real quick. Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. Those guys were the 3 leaders on that 2021 Georgia defense. They were extensions of the coaching staff. And the fact that all 3 of them are playing for Georgia, you're going to get the most out of Jalen Carter now. You might be a little nervous if Jalen Carter was out in Seattle or Chicago or Detroit, right? Even though those teams have their own ethos, and they probably would, give us some sort of PR statement on how they can get the most out of Jalen Carter, and it's a good spot for him. This was the spot for Jalen Carter. And the rest of the NFC East should be scared of what this defensive line is going to be, because Jalen Carter, like I've been saying since when we started talking, Greg, he's the best player in this class if he hits his upside, just in terms of what he can do every down. So, getting Nolan Smith, I do get it that he was available 30th. I had a high grade on him. I didn't think he was a top 5 player in this draft or anything, but the size that's an issue. But we said the same thing about Hassan Reddick, and who's he playing behind right now? Hassan Reddick. The Eagles, there is some distaste in the league right now for the fact that the media just keeps praising Howie Roseman. They don't dislike Howie Roseman. They just don't like how he's getting so much praise, but he's pressed every button correctly. And
why don't they like how he's getting praised?
I think, why don't they like it?
Yeah.
I think it's just that it's like they're getting sick of hearing it over and over. And maybe that the media is overplaying how good of a draft this is, or how good of a job
you mean
he's doing.
this specific draft?
I just think the past year of moves last year they made all those trades with the Saints, and they ended up with just ripping the Saints off.
Right.
So I just think that it's being maybe a little overplayed by the media, but I'll stay on that side. I think Howie Roseman's been the best general manager in football over the past 2 years.
You can't deny it.
No, you can't.
It is what it is. If you don't like it, just turn it off.
And these are obvious statements, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, right? And acquiring DeAndre Swift. The Sidney Brown, Kelee Ringo combo that they got in rounds 3 and 4, this secondary is going to be better than it was last year. And it was a really good secondary. Now, Ringo fell because of knee issues. Nothing structurally wrong, but he had swelling in his knees after workouts leading up to the draft. And, that's enough for him. He also didn't work out very well either. He ran a sub 4.4 at 6'1", 210, but his vertical and his broad jump numbers were very below average. So there is some issue. There are some guys saying that he's probably going to move to safety at some point.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see about that. But I love Ringo. You know that. I talked about him.
Absolutely.
And I love Sidney Brown too. I hate just constantly putting them up on a pedestal. But this draft was
and by the way,
amazing.
they get Eli Ricks in free agency after the draft.
Yeah. Yep. I think that they had a couple good signings in the free agency period. I mean, Ricks, he ran really poorly. He was like a 4.7. Like that might keep him out of the league in general. But I think there was Mekhi Gardner. I like that signing more. The cornerback from LSU, like another 205 physical, 6'2", 6'3" corner. So yeah, and Joseph Ngata, the wide receiver for Clemson, he's got some tools that I think are interesting to keep track of. So yeah, I mean, this team is.
And we know they needed a guard, and they got one in the third round.
Yeah, Tyler Steen will be a guard in the NFL. So this team's going to be the best team in the NFC next year if they stay healthy. And I don't think anyone's close.